dear viewers, we are back on your screens. Today we have another interesting topic of discussion, how corruption affects the delivery of credible elections. The program comes to you as part of the Ask Elections project implemented by the Alliance for Community Action, ACA. Democratic elections have been assumed to play a critical role in fighting corruption. This is, citizens use the right to vote to punish or reward aspiring candidates according to performance in office. Political accountability is a fundamental feature and yardstick for evaluating democracy. The effectiveness of democracy in keeping those in power in check worry relevant in the case of corruption. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. Your host, I'm Patrick Soko, and today I have an interesting guest, a special guest for that matter, and he is Mr. Macdonald Chipenzi. He is an electoral expert as well as GEAR's Initiative Executive Director. Welcome to the program, Mr. Chipenzi.
Good evening, Comrade Soko, and good evening, viewers, wherever you are.
Thank you. We are glad that you could find time to be part of the program.
Thank you, too, for inviting us through Ask Project, that is the SCA, for inviting us to come and be part of this program. Thank you.
Now, it is assumed that citizens use democratic processes such as an election to punish corrupt leaders and those. Why does it seem that citizens fail to punish politicians for corrupt practices, Mr. Chipenzi? Do you have a response to that?
Well, ideally, citizens are supposed to punish leaders who have failed to deliver, leaders who have engaged themselves in illegalities, and leaders who have engaged themselves in corruption. That is the ideal situation. But that depends also on the consciousness of the people that they are leading. Because if in a situation where those that you are leading feel that corruption is part of their life, it becomes very difficult to punish somebody. What actually happens is that that person who is corrupt will be more rewarded. They will not be sanctioned because they feel it is this person, Alibekaso. But they don't care where that money is coming from, where that wealth is coming from. They don't care. What they are interested in that this person, Alibekaso. They don't hate corruption. They don't hate money that they don't even know.
For the sake of our viewers, Alibekaso kindly
is not stingy. They have even come up with what they call now at Stingy Men Association of Zambia, SMAZ. And there's also Stingy Women Association of Zambia, SWAZ, something like that, where they say that somebody who doesn't give is very stingy and should not be voted for. So when society accepts corruption, they will have difficulties to punish a person who is corrupt. So until we change the norm, the practice, and everyone realizes that corruption is cancer. Corruption is actually a pandemic worse than coronavirus. Then will the people be able to punish the leaders that have failed to deliver and those that are engaging in corruption. So the challenge that we have in some instances where even if you say this person is corrupt, they go there in their constituents, they will still win, is because society in that particular area, they have accepted corruption as part of their society. So for them, they are not seeing anything wrong. Okay? So if this person, who you the normal society, feel that is a corrupt person, for them to lose him or her, it will mean that they will have lost their livelihood. And therefore, they would rather maintain a corrupt person than elect a non-corrupt person. So it's the way we have tried to appreciate the fact that corruption has become endemic in our society. And because it is endemic in our society, it has become very difficult for the society to punish corrupt leaders during elections. For them, actually, like now, they even tell you that it's time to eat. They don't care where that money is coming from. Or as long as you give them, they are home and dry.
Is it easy to detect corruption among politicians?
Well, of course. If today a person from nowhere is dishing out money, this is a person that was had difficulties even to buy a shoe from Salaula. Then you'll be able to start asking, say, but where did this person get the money to start what they are doing? It's either they have sold land, they have sold their house, or indeed they have promised someone to auction something when they win. And therefore, they will have plenty of money coming from those people. So they would have auctioned something. So it is easy to detect corruption in our whatever. This is an open thing. These days it's even very open. Like in Zambia, corruption is as open as an open door. It's as open as Savannah woodlands. Okay? Where people giving money openly, so here is money, openly. All right? Where you have leaders without shame start throwing money in the skies and it's dropping like that. That is pure corruption, electoral corruption. And that has gone unattended to. And because it has gone unattended to, citizens feel that that is the way campaigns should be done. That is the way elections should be held. Okay? Because if one person was punished for throwing money like that, okay, was arrested either for money laundering or for corruption, then citizens will be afraid to say, in drama, this money you have gotten, you don't know. Maybe it is stolen money. Maybe it's corrupt money. Police will be on us. All right? So don't take it. So they will refuse to take the money, which means that you have contributed to the fight against the corruption. But the moment you allow people to use the money the way they want, you don't even know the source of the money. You can't even investigate where this money is coming from. As law enforcement agencies, you have contributed to the flourishing of corruption in society. And you have contributed to the acceptance of corruption in society by communities. So for them, the throwing around of money, the donation of animals for beef, and all those things, they will take it as a normal way of election campaigns. And yet it is not normal.
What forms of corruption affect voting behavior, or rather electoral outcomes?
Of course, when people are given money, all right, you expect that even if you wanted to vote for a certain individual, because of the money you got, you go into a booth with a guilt conscience. Okay? So you try to appease this person. And sometimes you're even told that if you don't vote for us, we are going to know that you didn't vote for us. So your behavior, your conduct of elections, towards elections or in election, changes. Okay? And that is where the challenge has been. And sometimes, you know, they give you, someone even tell you that if I win, I'll give you titles. Or towards elections, titles are given, for example, in terms of land. Okay? There are so many promises. Chiefs, for example, they are even told, no, we'll give you vehicles. Or indeed, your salaries will go up, your allowances will go up. All those are meant to corrupt the mind and the behavior of the people that are supposed to cast a vote. So corruption changes the behavior of voters, especially in countries like Zambia, where poverty is at its peak. Okay? Where to find a 10 kwacha, you have to struggle for the whole day. Sometimes even fail to get that 10 kwacha. That in itself colonizes the mind, and anyone who gives them something decolonizes them. Okay? And they think that this is a savior. This is our Western donors. Yeah, this is a donor. You are a don. If you didn't come today, I wouldn't have eaten. Today, as we are speaking now, with these elections coming, some people have even exodus. They have done Komboka. If you are from Barosseland, you have moved. Now they have moved the camp into the campaign camps, because now candidates are creating cooking camps. So the poor in society are now moving from their homes into those camps to eat. That changes that behavior. So some from that food they have eaten, they will go say, if it were not for that person who provided us for food, we wouldn't have, I would have died of hunger. Others, they are saying, look, I've moved all the way from maybe Karikiriki to Chawama to attend a rally. And these people have not provided us with any transport, no food, no, sibali mushi. But Javanzabo, where we went, we were given what? We were given food. We are given even to my 20 kwacha of transport. These are the people that you have to vote for. Have you seen? So you have been made to change your correct behavior because of a 20 kwacha. Because of a kabas that has come from Karikiriki to Chawama to take you there to attend a meeting and bring you back. And you don't mind about what tomorrow brings to you. You don't mind about voting for a right leader within your society. No. For you, as long as you have been provided with a 20 kwacha, you are provided with a transport, Jesus has come. Heaven has come. And you are able to do anything for that person because of that thing. That is how behavior is changed by corruption, especially in places where poverty is the detecting factor, dictating where you are supposed to go and how you are supposed to behave. Then corruption thrives very well and delivers its outcome, the intended outcomes. If the intended outcome is to win a vote, you win a vote. And people will say, the nation will say, but how would you vote for that corrupt man? Now, for them, they have done their part. It's up to you now to start talking about, no, he's corrupt, he's corrupt. And in our election, in our case, even if someone is corrupt, unless that person is convicted, you can talk your lungs out. As long as that person is not taken to court, is not convicted, he still remains a very clean person. Even if he's convicted, you take him back to the people. Those people who still believe that this person has been so instrumental in feeding them, they will not care about that judgment. They will even vote for that person.
Does your analysis confirm the point to say poverty is a contributing factor to corruption, especially during the election time?
Well, especially in terms of voters, poverty really has got a telling effect. But in some cases, you know, what poverty does is that politicians think that when they keep people in poverty, they have created an undisputed vote bank. Okay? They know when they will start throwing shtenges, the T-shirts, meal, money, and so on, they will convince those people. And they will get back there, they will get the vote. So sometimes poverty will be used as a tool to create a vote bank that you are going to exploit during elections. But in some cases, this vote bank has exploded in front of those politicians. The same politicians that made them poor. People protest. Okay? If you remember in 2011, the townships felt the pinch that the things were going up, not the way they have gone up now. Bread was at 5 kwacha, is it 3 kwacha, and from 2 kwacha or somewhere else. So people thought, no, I think this is too much. Maybe if we bring a new... So those who are doing this, okay, towards elections, we will reduce the cost of doing business, we will reduce the cost of bread, milling meal, and so that we win them back and increase it, if you recall. So there are those mechanisms, those electioneering tactics that are done in order to win the poor vote. Okay? But at the end of the day, the poor vote can also play a quick one on you. All right? You heard during those days, there was what they used to call don't kubera. Get what they give you, eat, because you are poor. They are the ones who have created you poor, or who have made you poor. Eat. But on the day of voting, vote for a party that is going to help you have a holistic development agenda. And that's why you've seen that most peri-urban areas or townships, they are the ones that vote mostly than these Bapa Mwambas here in Kablonga. Even when you look at the voter register, you find that Lusaka Central, the main vote bank is Baulen. Why? It's because where the poor are. All right? And every politician, if you want to win, they even tell you, if you want to win Lusaka Central, Baulen. They know that's where the poor are. And they want to exploit the poor. So it's up to the poor to be educated, to say, look, this is the time when vouchers come. When they leave their lofty places, if it's an ego, if it's a voucher, that is living up in the highest tree, this is the time they come down. Because they have seen a what? A carcass. And they want to exploit that carcass. And you think that they are good friends of a carcass. No, they just want meat there. After eating, they go. Disappear 5 years. 4.5 years. They will start now coming slowly. They will just pass. That is the 4th year. Over cancel picked up. Then the other month of the same year, they will start now. They had the meeting there. Then they are coming closer. Finally, you see them now coming on a regular basis. That vouching politics is what the politicians are using around and towards the poor people. But, like I said, it's a tool that they can use to win. But sometimes it boomerangs. And most politicians have cried foul because they thought that by exploiting the poor, by trying to be close to them during elections time, they would win an election, only to find that actually the poor have become so intelligent and they cannot be colonized anymore by the gifts that are coming from those who have neglected them or who have made them poor.
Well, our dear viewers, in case you are just joining us, you are watching The Verdict, and this is powered by the Alliance for Community Action. And our topic of discussion is themed how corruption affects the delivery of credible elections. My guest on the program is Macdonald Chipenzi, an electoral expert, as well as the Gears Initiative Executive Director. And on the program later on, we'll be requesting you, our viewers, to also contribute by dialing the number that is scrolling on your screens to issue your contribution. You can also reach us on our Facebook platform by leaving a message there. Now, going on with the program, Mr. Chipenzi, at what point does it become corruption? When politicians distribute campaign materials, does that amount to vote buying?
No, the electoral code is very clear on the issue of campaign materials. Campaign materials includes posters, includes branded T-shirts. Anything that you brand is not corruption, according to the electoral code of conduct. So if you are giving salt, you must brand it, Michael Soko. Okay? This is a donation from Michael Soko. The moment you don't brand it, you give these voters unbranded materials. Those are not actually, they are not campaign materials. They are electoral corruption. They are actually part of the electoral corruption. So, money is never branded. Okay? I think we have not seen money branded there, made by PF or printed by PF or by UPND or by a Socialist Party or whatever. No, money is money. And if you start throwing around money in a campaign, then you are corrupting the voters. You are wanting to win the votes, the voters' heart to vote for you. So that is corruption. All right? So anything branded, even these posters you see, they are supposed to be down there. According to the code of conduct, you have to show the printer, the producer of that poster that you are putting. You have to show the producer of the Chipenzi material, the printers and whatever, the publishers and so on. And that's what the code expects.
And why was that provision put in place?
It's to avoid this issue where I can donate this thing and say, no, this is a campaign material. Because campaign materials must be branded. And the publishers must be known. The printers must be known. So you can't just go with your neckties and branded and say, no, this is campaign material. No. So this is why we have always asked the Electoral Commission of Zambia, who are the enforcers of this code of conduct, to say, look, some people are donating animals, okay? Animals to collection facilities. Those animals are never branded as campaign materials, all right? That is corruption, a clear corruption. So we expect that the Commission must now start either educating these political parties to say, look, according to the code, a campaign material, it means this. These statements that you offer, you issue, they are campaign material. Because down there it will be written, issued by this political party. Have you seen? Chitengez, they'll have a portrait of a candidate. They have the message of the candidates. And down there, if you check, it is even printed by somebody. It's very clear. If you are contributing salt, if it's with branded salt, that is okay. It's a campaign material. So it becomes corruption when you start distributing unbranded materials. If you go to the chief and donate 45 vehicles unbranded, or 45 bicycles unbranded, that is corruption. There is no two way about it, and you cannot go around and say, no, but you know, they have a problem of transport. As long as they are not branded, that these are PF, these are UPND, these are Socialist, these are DP or PAC, they are corrupt items being used to corrupt the minds and the decision of the voters.
Mr. Chipenzi, you've been mentioning the Electoral Commission of Zambia in this subject while we are discussing the aspect of corruption. I want to find out, at what point does the Anti-Corruption Commission fit in? Because we know that they are also mandated to fight corruption. Do they have to play a part in this process?
Yes, exactly. The Anti-Corruption Commission is a key implementer of the Electoral Code of Conduct. If you read the Electoral Process Act number 35 of 2016, sections 80, 81, 82 up to 85, it will tell you what corruption is, what bribery is, and that's where the Anti-Corruption Commission is supposed to come in. They are supposed, even these things we are saying, no, but look, these parties are donating money, whatever. If the Anti-Corruption Commission were to be very, very assertive on the provisions in the Electoral Process Act and in the Anti-Corruption Act of 2012, they would have captured a number of these candidates, a number of them. We have even wondered, here are adoptions, inter-party and intra-party adoptions. People are complaining there's corruption. Anti-Corruption Commission is waiting either to be someone to report to them that this is what's happening. They cannot move on their own. They cannot be proactive. So this is where you find now, if there is any area where corruption thrives, it is in the electoral process. There's too much corruption. Too much corruption. And to an extent that even the voters have been corrupted. Why? Is because the commission, the Anti-Corruption Commission, have also decided to take corruption in the electoral process as nothing. It's not corruption.
Why do you say so?
They have never moved. They have never arrested anyone. How many times have you seen politicians dishing out money? How many times have you seen, politicians donating unbranded items during campaigns? Those are all bribery issues. Those are all corruption issues, which we expect that the institution that is fighting corruption should have moved in. Arrest 2 or 3 over that. You will see how the electoral process will be sanitized. The electoral process needs to be sanitized. It is coronated. It is coronated. It's the most sector that corruption thrives. And if you follow even the petitions from the time of MMD in 1990s up there, you will find that one word that is persisting in all the petitions is corruption. This candidate was corrupting, donated this during campaign. This one drilled a borehole during campaigns, and so on and so forth. That shows you that corruption has been thriving and abetted in the electoral process. And yet we have had an electoral commission, we have had an anti-corruption commission, we also have an anti-money laundering unit of the police service. Is it police service or the what do you call it? The Drug Enforcement Commission. All these institutions are actually in the Electoral Code of Conduct, in the Electoral Act, are mandated to do their work in collaboration with the Electoral Commission of Zambia. But very little is being done. If you go now to the Drug Enforcement Commission, they will tell you we are still investigating. Someone is found with dollars in the house. Dollars in the house. The source is not known. The commission, the Drug Enforcement Commission, is not even interested. If it's interested, it goes there with a lukewarm approach. Now, how do you fight that? So this is why you find that the electorate in the electoral process have taken these gifts in philanthropies, electoral philanthropies, as normal, because no one has been arrested. The vice president, you see them giving out money openly. The president, you see them doing, constructing, going there to say, look, I've donated this during campaigns. Those days, if you remember, one time, the former president, Arabi, had gone to Vlamkoko in Katete and donated huge sums, huge quantities of sugar. And it brought uproar. It took the Electoral Commission of Zambia to say that was except that it was done outside the mandate of the commission, which is 90 days to the election, when the Electoral Code of Conduct is supposed to be binding. All right? But again, we have requested the commission several times to say, look, now that the election date is enshrined in the Constitution, it means that any political party worth its salt, immediately the elections are over, they start campaigning. Okay? And the Electoral Commission of Zambia's Code of Conduct must also come into force. It must cover the entire electoral cycle, and not only 90 days. There is no football that you only whistle 2 minutes to the end of the game. And so, no, I was a referee. I mean, what type of a referee are you? Football is 90 minutes, eh? But you only go there, you start applying the rules 30 minutes to the game. And you say, no, I've refereed this, it was free and fair. I think that is it's a mockery.
Well, our dear viewers, you are watching the verdict under the segment powered by the Alliance for Community Action. Our topic of discussion is how corruption affects the delivery of credible elections. Now, as we proceed with the program, you can also participate by dialing the number that is scrolling on your screens to give us your views and comment on the topic of discussion. Now, Mr. Chipenzi, does the distribution of campaign materials provide a level playing field for candidates?
Well, campaign materials are the only materials allowed in the elections. Okay, they are the only materials that are allowed in an election. It is to sell yourselves. Okay, anything that sells you and it is branded, it helps you to be known by the candidate, by the electorates. Okay? This time we are talking of 7 million Zambians. These 7 million Zambians are not in one place. They are all over, scattered around the country, sometimes across the border. Okay? So, with that kind of thing, you need campaign materials to show that you are also standing. Your posters are campaign materials. They help you be known. As to whether they level the play field, it depends on your capability and ability to produce more. Okay? There are some people, if you remember in 2011, the MMD had produced more quantities of campaign materials, especially vitenges and others, where even pants were labeled, vote for RB, president for all people, of all Zambians. You had the vitenges in all the trees, especially along the line of rail. Some as flags, some wrapped like chitenge, around your waist. All over. Bubble gums. They were also labeled, branded, vote for RB president for all Zambians, and so on and so forth. All right? So, to others were underdogs in that area because they had no enough money to produce the materials that the other party could produce. But at the end of the day, the few posters, the few vitenges, the few messages that was sent around helped them to win the hearts of the people. So, campaign materials are there to sell yourself. They are not there to level the play field. No, they are not there to level the play field. The only instrument that level the play field is the Electoral Code of Conduct. And the Electoral Code of Conduct does not stipulate or prescribe how much materials or how many materials you are supposed to distribute. Further, we don't have laws in this country that limits the expenses during campaigns. You can even spend 1 million on a ward election. And someone can spend 1 million on a constituency election. And someone can spend 1 million on a presidential election. Okay? So the material that you distribute does not or do not actually level the field. What levels the field are the regulations, the rules, and the laws that govern the electoral process.
Well, our dear viewers, you can stay tuned. We just take a short break. We'll be back shortly.
Camnet TV is here to entertain, educate, and inform you. Catch Rise and Thrive at 0730 hours every Saturday. Fresh and new praise and worship comes Monday to Friday at 8 hours. Kids need to be glued to the TV every weekday at 09 hours for their favorite cartoons. Off the pitch with the boys as they talk about sport on Saturdays at 0930 hours.
Remember, we are also here to entertain you with our different varieties of movies every weekday at 10 hours. Join Pastor Victoria and Moses Chuluwa with Healing Word Ministries International Church live sermon every Sunday at 10 hours.
Katamanda brings to you another journey of gospel ministers on Saturdays at 10:30 hours. The verdict comes to your screens at 17:45 hours. Join the Revival Harvest Church every Sunday at 18:30 hours.
Every Monday to Saturday, join us on the news desk at 12 hours as we bring to you the midday news, and at 19:30 hours Central African time every day for the main bulletin.
The ministry with Pastor Moses Chuluwa comes every Friday at 20:45 hours. On Mondays, it's your favorite national matters at 20:45 hours.
Wednesday and Thursday, Pastor Victoria and Moses Chuluwa are on Partnership of Greatness with different spiritual teachings at 20:45 hours.
And Frank on Camnet comes to your screen every Tuesday at 20:45 hours.
Camnet TV, not just another channel.
And bananas. Working, waiting, this what you've been praying for.
Welcome back. Now, continuing with our topic of discussion, how corruption affects the delivery of credible elections. Now, Mr. Chipenzi, does the lack of information on aspiring candidates affect the choice of voters on the ballot?
Correct. That is a very serious disease in the electoral process. Information sharing, information acquisition has been a problem. And most of these candidates don't share who they are. Okay? And when the other people want to share who they are, they bring the issue of rival. Okay? So most of these people are voted in when people don't even know who they are. You know, for example, if I'm here in Lusaka and I want to go and stand in Siavonga, okay? People just know there's Macdonald. He's born here. What I have been doing, they don't know. Okay? They don't know. So, only when I'm elected, that's when they start saying, oh, actually, Mutsazi wanokamba na Chizungu. Even talking in English is a problem. Oh, this person is a humanizer, and so on and so forth. That's when they come to understand, oh, we didn't know this person. So this person is corrupt. Okay? This person is like this. So you start now earning yourself names. Because before they didn't know you. All they knew is that maybe when you meet them on the way, you give them a lift. When they are in Lusaka, you give them something. When they are what, you give them that. So they think you are a good leader. But until when you are there, when people start knowing who you are truly, that's when they will say, oh, okay, we didn't know. We voted because we wanted a change. And information is in most cases lacking. And especially at presidential level, at council level, at parliamentary level, at mayoral level. For example, if you put a mayor here in Lusaka, how many constituencies is this mayor going to command? 7 constituencies. And do you think that this person is known by in all the 7 constituencies? No. So people will just be voting either for a party and not for the person. So in Zambian politics, most is popular in Lusaka. Then all the candidates, whether they are bad individuals, they are corrupt, they don't know how to speak English, the official language, for them is not a problem. It is a party that matters. They even during campaign, they will tell you, do the uniform. If you vote for the president, the mayor, the MP, and the councillor should be the same uniform. And the voters, it becomes very easy for them. Because when they will say, okay, it is Pakwanja, or it is Pabwato, or it is Pachan. So for them, they will just look where there is all those symbols. Those are the ones that they will vote. A series. There's no time to think through to say, okay, for president, I think I'll give you this one. But for the MP, how many of this? This one, I think he was articulating issues very well. I think this one is a good candidate. No, this one, I think he has been ABC helping the community. This is nothing. They will just vote whoever is standing on that political party. And that is where we need more information about candidates.
But what are the consequences? We have a caller. Just hold on. I'll get back to that question. Hello, you are through to Kamne TV. May we have your name and where you are calling us from?
Yes, my name is Daniel Thomas, from.
Okay, you can go ahead.
We don't have much of history. When you look at the way companies have moved in 1991 up to date, that's why we have put so many for us to know either you want to understand how parents.
Well, we've lost that one. Well, you can also call in to give us your contribution on the program. I was going to ask you this question, Mr. Chipenzi, but I hope you've also gotten what you was trying to put across. The aspect of what are the consequences of voting for a political party and not individuals based on their ability to deliver?
Well, I mean a political party, basically in our context, unless it's in power, that's when it can deliver. If it's not in power, it is very difficult to deliver. And more especially with this notion of saying it's not yet campaign. You can't move because under normal circumstances, if my party is controlling Chipata city, Chipata constituency, for example, as president, I have the right to go and see how my MP is doing. I should go and inspect and hear what people are saying in Chipata about my MP. Because the performance of that MP, the performance of that councillor, mayor, my mayor from my party, will propel the growth of my party. All right? It will be the seed that will be sown to grow my party. Now you have political parties. Even with all the MPs, all the councillors, they cannot go and visit any of their district and see how the councillors are doing. Why? It's because maybe when they go there, the state comes and says, no, but what are you doing here? Okay? You can't come here. It's not campaign period. Go back. That person is thrown back. That is how it has become, that's how sometimes you find that some people say, but these political parties are the same. Because in this council that is controlled by an opposition is as corrupt as the council that is controlled by the ruling party. But if we allow our political party leaders to stamp their authority on their elected people, because those people are elected not because of their popularity. I can tell you, I've been monitoring these elections for some time now. There are people that, if they are left by the party, they can't even win, not even a vote. They can't even win. But if they stand on that political party ticket, see the votes that they will win. For them, they will be proud, no, I've won, I've won. You have won because of the party. If you left alone,
we have a caller.
You can't win.
Hello, you are through to Cabinet TV. We are getting feedback there. Make sure you switch off your television set before calling.
Yeah, so that is where the challenge is. So when you vote for a party, especially in our context where the party has very little touch with those elected, it means that if they have put a stone, it will be a stone until the next election. It will not speak for you. It will not address your issues. It will not come to you, and so on and so forth. And then the president of that party that has put a stone will not be able to come there and hear your problems, because the rules of the game are that as long as it's not election, you cannot go around and see what is happening. So you find that development goes down. And you find that people's problems continue to be. Okay? There are times, if you look, if I tell you now, if you go to Kaoma, from Tatayoyo to Katunda Junction, and from Katunda Junction to Lukulu or through Mangango, that road has been there for many, many years. Bad road. And people have been speaking, please, please. They have changed the MPs. They have changed councillors. They have changed the presidents maybe. But maybe one day someone will answer them. But you find that maybe they vote for this party doesn't win, development doesn't come. Mangango is a very good example, where in 2014, we had the by-election. Is it 2020? Yeah, 2014, we had the by-election. And one of the campaign messages that was there was that this road is poor because you have been voting for an opposition. Because at that particular time, the member of parliament was an opposition who died. All right? Not forgetting that actually before that person died, Mangango was under the ruling party, the MMD, from 1991. All right? But the road is still poor. So people realize, no, let's vote for an opposition. Maybe this one will speak for us. And then that person died, unfortunately. And another one came from the ruling party, Comrade Rogers Ringwish.
We have a caller.
And you saw what happened. Up to now, the road is poor. It has become a political road.
You are through to Cabinet TV. May we have your name and where you are calling us from?
Hello.
Yes, you are through to Cabinet TV.
Yes, I wanted to contribute
Your names and where you are calling us from. Your names and where you are calling us from.
This is James from Lusaka.
Okay, you can proceed.
Yes, Macdonald, you see, the issue of corruption is rife in Zambia. And especially on the political scene, is something that has come to stay. More especially from the government in power. You see, these branded materials, like you rightly pointed out, that they are not negated in resource. So there are people who do supply with a view of donating to the party. But the intention is not like that, it's different. As you have said, the Katunda Road has been there for some time. It's not only that, you have the Katunda to the Shaky Road, the Home Weather Road, that one, has been like that since 18-something days. You mentioned quite a lot of things that arise with the
why they are failing to arrest such people. They keep on saying, no, this will do this, but they're not doing it. Furthermore, it's an issue of e-cigarette. We're expecting cabinet to bring about the e-cigarette to that impact, so that we can ask them why they are not doing that. I think that is my contribution for today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your contribution, sir.
Yeah.
You brought out a number of issues, including us hosting ECZ. We've done that before, but I think this is a continuous process. We are going to also have them on the program so that they can also clarify some certain issues that people may raise. And Mr. Chipenzi, you were on the floor. You can marry his response with that. But before that, I want to add another question so that you respond to them together. We have ministers that have been implicated in corruption. How will this affect the credibility of their election if re-elected into office?
Well, like I said, first maybe to answer Comrade Kefas, is it Kefas? From Lusaka, is true. Corruption in our political processes, political process or arena, seems to have come to stay. And why it has come to stay is because our institutions that are supposed to fight corruption seem not to be willing to fight it. All right? Because if our institutions were willing, because when you are talking of corruption, corruption is not only in government. It's not only among civil servants. Politicians, he is given an example of people donating, not because they want to help to campaign, but there's a motive behind. That sometimes they even say, I don't want to donate through you. I want to donate through the big man, who is the president, so that they are able to be recognized when things happen. The issue of the roads, for example. One road that sometimes I shed tears is the Kashikishi Mununga Chiengi Road. That road has been like that during Katere Kalumba's time as Minister of Finance. It's a bad road. And that's why people sometimes they use Kaputa Road, which is also very bad to access Chiengi. And these are roads that have been on the drawing board, the leaders have changed and so on and so on. So what we need to say is that the corruption in the electoral process needs to be nipped out. And the first thing that we need to do is, do we have the right people in these institutions of governance? Because the rules are very clear. The institutions are good. But the people that we put there are cowards. They are afraid to lose their jobs. They are afraid to be fired. They are afraid to fight corruption. They are afraid of corruption itself. Then you ask yourself to say, why were they employed? They were employed because of a salary. It's the only thing that they are not afraid of. The rest, they are afraid. But a salary, they are excited, and you see them smiling every month end. That is where the problem is. Until we realize that I'm employed to fight corruption, and there's no way I can get a salary when corruption is thriving in my country. That is more like stealing. There is no way I can be proud to get a salary when the electoral process is riddled with violence, with corruption, with insults, with hate speech, and yet I have the power to curtail that kind of thing. To me, that my heart bleeds. We need the right people in the right institutions in as much as we want good laws. If there are good laws, but no right people who are cowards, who are after salaries, forget about any good governance.
Mr. Chipenzi, as we come towards the end of our program, what is the importance of retrospective voting in this year's election?
Well, I mean, I think we have to understand what retrospective voting is. It's where now voters have difficulties to assign blame for the state of affairs. So I don't know, that's where we are now, where people don't know who has brought problems to them, okay, because of little information around it. So if it is important that people understand, but this can only be done if they are given information. Like these programs, they are very good because they will be helping them to know why they are there, from where they were, and where are they going. So that when it comes to, like the way you have seen how sometimes institutions, write their statements. Like today, you have heard the statement from the Electoral Commission, where they were saying, we are going to suspend, or is it to stop PF and UPND from these road shows because they are the perpetrators of violence. You have heard that statement.
Yes, exactly.
Now, that statement is vague. And that statement cannot end violence. Because you must be very clear. In any violence, there are perpetrators and there are victims. Sometimes the perpetrator today will be a victim tomorrow. A victim today will be a perpetrator tomorrow. So you should be able to say that Mike Soko did this. I was a little bit happy with the IG, with what happened in Mandevu the other day. He said, these people blocked the other guys from proceeding. And that's why violence erupted. So you know who caused the problem. And you can deal with that person to sort out the problem. But the moment you say, no, that violence, I think these two political parties are violent, you're not solving anything. Even the violent person who hide under that condemnation. So we need not to speak because we want to be politically correct. Me, I don't believe in to be politically correct. Whether I'm politically correct or politically wrong, I don't care. Because God has given me a mandate to speak for the people.
Mr. Chipenzi, we thank you for finding time to be on the program. You can talk and talk. But unfortunately, we've come to that time when we have to say goodbyes to our dear viewers. You've been watching The Verdict, the segment that is powered by the Alliance for Community Action. The program comes to you as part of the Ask Election project being implemented by the Alliance for Community Action. Until next time, this has been Patrick Soko. Stay tuned.